Real quick lunchtime lunacy video before I head back out to the plantation. I don't even know if this is going to flow right. The system is acting crazy. My last video, I don't know, they flagged me. Well, they didn't actually flag me, but they said the video would get limited views. I guess they said for copyright issues. I never had that issue before. But to be on the safe side, I'll just be careful. Nonetheless, judging from the title of the video, we don't know who to trust or what to believe. In one segment of the news, the employment rate is high, then it's low, then the market is doing well, then it's not doing well. I would suggest you do one of a few things. One is read between the lines of what any person of power says. Secondly, do not get caught up into your emotions or the emotions of others, because brothers and sisters have a tendency to look at things from an emotional point of view and more of a subjective mindset. So be very, very careful how you take in information and be willing and open to change. That's in scripture, that's in prophecy, that's in information. Be open-minded so long as you're not going away from the Bible and you're not following man's doctrine. Let me show you what I'm talking about as far as being subjective as far in opposed to objective. Check this out real quick. Check this out. I found this interesting. So I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if you can see that. But now they're talking about layoffs, but just weeks ago, months ago, we were hearing about a booming economy and people finding jobs. But then outside of that, you hear about people losing jobs, being laid off from jobs. We just did a report, which has been confirmed, at least I believe, is that first it was 150,000 Black women fired or laid off. Then it went up to 350. So what is there to believe? Or what should we believe, rather? Excuse me. This is where you got to, do your own research and see what's happening on the grounds for yourself. See what's happening in the hood. See what's happening on your jobs. See what's happening on other people's jobs. But do not just be one-sided. The main thing is follow the Most High. Anyone who's speaking outside of following the Most High sincerely and subjecting themselves to the Son of the Most High, do not take their information as gospel for the most part. For the most part. And I'm talking about deep, intricate things. That's what I'm talking about. But let's go a little further because I'm not going to be very long. Check it out.
Now, most people say that no, the economy's strong, that there are ample jobs out there. Everyone is hiring, but that's just not the case. Did you know that 1 out of 5 unemployed workers had to send in over 100 applications just to get one job?
So now I don't believe that now. Some people are saying this because they're anti-Trump, sorry. They have Trump deranged syndrome. So you gotta take an account for that. You gotta, man. Because a lot of people, they don't believe that exists. I believe that exists. I believe it exists. Check out the definition right here. I want you to see this. Check this out. Because this is a lot of people base their understanding and ideologies on just that alone, man. It's unfortunate. It says Trump deranged syndrome, TDS, is a projective term used to describe negative reactions to U.S. President Donald Trump that are characterized as irrational and disconnected from Trump's actual policy position. And that's so true because in the beginning, remember that he was going to cut off Section 8, just totally just get rid of it. And that's not the case. What's being cut off is people scamming the system and becoming comfortable in their laziness. Then he was going to cut off Medicaid and Medicare. That's not true. He wasn't going to terminate Medicaid and Medicare. No, he was not. He was basically going to get rid of the scammers that are on that. Now, is there racism involved in any of those systems? Sure it is. Sure it is. Like, you got more people on welfare who are of white nationality than black people. And it seems like they're not getting the fire put to their ass as far as the cuts. Now, do I have to research that further? Yes, I do, as far as how it's affecting the white community. But nonetheless, black people are being affected by this, but there's no shape, way, or form where Trump is eradicating or getting rid of Section 8, Medicaid, or Medicare. That's not true. The Board of Ed, they said he was getting rid of the Board of Ed. And that's not true. He was going to leave the Board of Education or the educational system. He was going to leave that to each state. So New York would handle their Board of Ed or how they deal with their children. Philadelphia, Chicago would do the same. He was not wiping out the Board of Ed. But does that affect black people? You better believe it affects black people, because no matter how racist it is, the Board of Ed, no matter how racist any system is, it's been so corrupt and been in place for so long, it's hard to just rip that out from under the feet of black people. Bottom line, it affects you. In other words, the corruption is so severe, it's so damaging, that to replace it is very difficult. Proof of that is Obamacare. That could not just be taken away 1, 2, 3, because the people are so ingrained in it, they're so dependent on it, and they don't have a decent strategy to replace that. They don't have that. They don't have nothing to put in place of Obamacare that's effective and won't hurt the people. The country is dirty. We have to come to grips with the understanding and the truth that the country is dirty. Bottom line, you can't get around that. And with the Trump deranged syndrome, it's affecting the truth versus what's real. It's affecting what's beneficial for black people and what's destructive for black people. Me, myself, I'm about getting the paper. I believe in using the system and getting what I can get out of the system to sustain my life and my finances while here on this earth. In other words, I'm going to take what's in front of me and I'm going to utilize it to better my position while serving the Most High. I'm going to utilize it to better my position while World War III is about to start. And that's my advice to a lot of you brothers and sisters. You use this world, but don't abuse yourself in the world. Don't get Trump derangement. Don't be to the point where you are unreasonable. Don't be subjective. Be objective. Get the whole truth. Don't base your truth on emotions. Here says that are categorized as irrational and disconnected from Trump's actual position. If anybody tells you anything, get the actual position, not just on Trump, on anything. The scripture says, be not ignorant in anything, small or great. Don't be ignorant in anything small or great. Think. You have to train your minds to be less emotional. Black people are very emotional. This is due to one parent in the home. This is due to the music. This is due to the trauma of slavery all the way to now, how it's affecting your thought process. This is due to a lack of money. This is due to a lack of proper nutrition. This is due to a effed up lifestyle, which has transitioned us to be overly emotional. So get the actual policy positions of Trump, as well as the Democrats, as well as the Republicans. In other words, be well-rounded on all sides. Don't follow emotional people or emotional situations. The term has mainly been used by Trump supporters to discredit criticism of him as a way of reframing the discussion by suggesting that I can't see it. His opponents are incapable of accurately perceiving the world, thus making TDS a logical fallacy. Some journalists have used the term to call for the restraint when judging Trump's statements and actions. So you can take this how you want to take it. Even with this, you can take it. It's leaning towards a strategy to offset the truth coming from the left. But then the right uses it to show how lunatic the left is. The right uses it as a tool, TDS, as a strategic statement or position to show how crazy the left is. And in certain cases, the left is crazy. So is the right. But you have to think as a spiritual man and as a rational man. Same thing goes for the women. You have to be in your right mindset. So, I don't know how to take this dude. We're speaking now. Should I reject everything he says? No, I'm not going to reject everything he says, but I'm not going to take everything he says as truth. Check it out.
The United States currently, and again, this is where things get a little bit out of control because most people don't realize this is happening because it's a slow trickle effect. But the United States, as of July, the end of July, we've experienced over 806,000 layoffs since the beginning of the year. That right there.
Check this out. I'm going to show you.
Damn it. All right. Let's get rid of that.
Well, just in July, it's a 75% increase year over year. And from last year at the same time, we are already, actually last year, the entire year, we are already currently 6% over the unemployed figure.
So, maybe that's true. Maybe it's not true. Overall, we still have to survive. We still have to survive, and you will not survive if you caught up in the system and you're overly emotional. Bottom line is you have to be in the spirit of the Most High. You understand what I'm saying? Because the scripture says in Psalms 146 verse 3, it says, "Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help." See that? In whom there is no help. Check this out real quick on that same scripture. Bring this up real quick. It says Psalms 46 and 3 reads, "Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help." We just read that. The verse advises against placing ultimate faith and reliance on human leadership or leaders. Sorry. See that? The verse advises against placing ultimate faith and reliance on human leaders. See that? It says highlighting their limitations and the transient nature of their power. Instead, the Psalms encourage readers to put their trust in God. In God. You understand? So clearly, the system has lost faith in God. And it's not about God. When you say that you want to fund trans operations to prisoners in jails with taxpayers' money, they have lost faith in God. The system is backwards and it's not of God. When you say you want to have men participating in women's sports and men claiming that they're women and competing with women, men competing with women, that's a sign that the system is the opposite of God, and they're not in the spirit of God. And right away, that should be a red flag showing you that that fraction of the party is nuts. If you believe in that garbage, but you shouldn't believe in the system, period. You should use the system. That's my advice. Use the system. Use the system. You understand? A lot of the policies that the Democrats push is the opposite. It's the opposite of God's laws and commandments. It's the opposite. Then you have the Republicans who are about money, greed, and take a knee to the powers that be, such as the so-called J people, the small hats, the JEW people. They have taken a back seat to that. And a lot of Trump supporters and followers of Trump have lost a lot of faith in Trump. They have lost a lot of respect in Trump. So what I'm trying to show you is that the whole system is backwards and insane. That's what I'm trying to show you. And if you don't wake up and see what this country is really about, if you don't wake up and see what this country is really about, you are going to be at a total loss, and you're gonna get caught up when the collapse comes, because there will be a collapse, because these parties, both parties, are so goddamn greedy and so full of BS that it's pathetic. And it's pathetic for anyone to follow any of this leadership, or left or right. You are a goddamn fool if you believe in the system at this point. You are. Here it says, nor in the Son of Man. It says, this part of the verse, it says, this is a general reference to humanity, emphasizing that even the most capable and influential individuals are still mortal and limited, in whom there is no salvation. It says, this highlights the core message. Humans, by their very nature, cannot offer ultimate salvation or deliverance. You're going to find that out. That's bottom line. That's what it's about. The system cannot have you in a position where you could be delivered from the destruction. The system is a part of what traps men and keeps them away from deliverance, and puts them in a position where they're going to experience the judgment of the Most High. Decline that. Context, Psalms 146 as a whole emphasizes God's trustworthiness and power. See that? That's what we're about. The power of the Most High, trusting in the Most High. That's what we're about. So you got to get in that mindset. The closer we get to the fall of America, because America will fall, the closer we get there, the Most High is exposing the system for what it is. If you're smart enough to see it. But if you're dumb and you're stupid and you believe in the system, then that's on you. Here's another story right here. I got it right here. Another story.
Vice President Vance firing back at people protesting the federal takeover of D.C.'s police department. Take a listen.
I got to speed that up because these devils. Let me check this. Bear with me one moment. Check it out.
This is the guy who thinks people don't deserve law and order in their own community.
Pete Hegseth and Stephen Miller were also on hand. They were there to thank National Guardsmen who've been protecting Union Station. Here's what the vice president told Laura Ingraham.
I had heard from a couple of friends who used to avoid Union Station because there were vagrants and there were crazy people screaming at kids, that they avoided Union Station. But over the past 9 days...
I've been to Union Station. And what he said is true, or what he's about to say is true. It's crazy in there, but it's not to the point where I can't handle it. It's not crazy to the point where most black people can't handle it. Where black people and Hispanics have the problem at is in the hood. It's in the hood. But as far as the train station that he's talking about, that can be dealt with. You understand what I'm saying? It's white people that fear walking around in that area. That's where the problem is at. Then you have the problem in the hood. Let the people speak for themselves in the hood. They do not like the situation in the hood. They want more of a police presence in the hood. And it's totally out of control. The National Guard should have been brought to Chicago, in Memphis, in New York. Years ago, that should have been done. So the same way black people are not going to have much of an issue where Pence is at, or any train station in DC, those same black people will have an issue with crime in the hood. So they're right on that to a degree. But this is more for the protection of white people who are shopping in the DC area, who want to go out for brunch in the DC area, who want to feel safe in certain parts of Washington, DC. But for the most part, from what I see, in the hood, throughout the whole country, the National Guard should be brought into certain communities. A large segment of black people should be put behind bars and taken off the streets. You can't get around this. And this is where you get your mind locked into the position of being objective, not subjective to feelings and emotions and certain people speaking nonsense in the media. A lot of the people that's pushing back on this don't even live in the hood. Don't even live in the hood. Don't experience what's going on in the hood, and the gun and the shootings and the killings in the hood. I said the other day, children cannot play in the streets anymore. I used to play in the streets when I was growing up.
The president did this emergency order. It looks a lot better. It feels a lot safer. So I was talking with Stephen Miller and with Pete Hegseth about this in the Oval Office yesterday. And I was like, we should just go over there and say hello to people. And you've got a lot of National Guardsmen over there, some DC cops who have been heckled by some of the protesters. So I thought, what a good show of
white protesters, predominantly white protesters who don't live in the hood, who don't experience what black people go through in the ghetto, white protesters.
Moral support to have the vice president, some of the senior team at the White House show up. We bought him some burgers, hang out with him a little bit.
And President Trump writing on Truth Social, quote, "Just like our southern border is now 100% secure, Washington, D.C. is safe again, and we have just begun the process of revival." Lucas Tomlinson live in D.C. this morning with more on this. Hi, Lucas.
Good morning, Bill. A show of force by the Trump administration at Union Station in the nation's capital. The vice president, defense secretary, and deputy chief of staff showing their support to National Guard soldiers and the police and drawing the ire of protesters. Let's hear more from that video.
Bottom line, they don't care about you. They don't care about black people. They care about their careers, feeling safe, and their money. But black people do need protection, man. Because let's face it, you have bad black people among good black people. You got hardworking black people, and you got black people who are lazy and they're doing nothing throughout the day but causing problems and more suffering in the black communities. And this you know. But it's spun so out of control because of the 2020 riots in the Biden administration and the Democrats for the last 30 years. It's gotten so out of control that black people are crying out for more police protection. They want the hoods cleaned up. Who wouldn't? Who would not want that? I mentioned this a few days ago. A lot of black people, when they get financially stable, they leave the black community. Why would you want your babies among that type of people, in that type of environment? Why would you want that? You don't want that. You want the best for your children. And unfortunately, that's impossible. Unfortunately, that is impossible to have among black people who are low grade in thought and in spirit. That's what I'm talking about. All black people are not bad. And all black people don't have liberal values. A lot of black people have conservative values, and they don't want to be in a crime-riddled neighborhoods. Bottom line, I mean, that's the truth.
Are you researching dental implants?
Damn, the commercials are ridiculous, man. They don't want that, man. Bottom line, they don't want that, and you know it. White. Look at this. Look closely. These are all white people.
Capital, the vice president, defense secretary, and deputy chief of staff showing their support to National Guard soldiers and the police and drawing the ire of protesters. Let's hear more from that video.
Look at in the crowd. Look at the crowd. White. All white people, practically. Now, what the hell they know about police presence in the hood? They're not going to no goddamn hood. They're not going to no hood. This is why I said you don't know what to believe, because you have black people yelling the same thing that the white people are yelling. They don't want that the occupation of soldiers or the National Guards in the black neighborhoods. But then you have black people who are tired of seeing their children shot down and killed. They are tired of drugs being sold on the doorsteps. They are tired of trash. They are tired of roaches and rats. They are tired of Section 8. They are tired of people who are undesirables of their own skin color in their neighborhoods. They are tired of that. They're tired of it. You know, goddamn well, these people are not in the hood. They're not in the hood, man.
That video.
You know goddamn well that they're not in the hood. They don't care about you. I'm gonna shock you. Both sides really don't care about you, but it's about getting the best and the most for the bang of your buck, brothers and sisters. That's what it's about. You rob whatever you can get out of this system, and you use that to further yourselves in the system and make the best for you and your family in the system. Because at the end of the day, they do not love you or care for you.
This is the guy who thinks people don't deserve law and order in their own community. I know that we've traded now some violent, crazy people who are screaming at kids with a few crazy liberals who are screaming at the vice president, but I think that's a very worthwhile trade to make because we want our people to be able to enjoy our beautiful cities.
Now, for context, Bill, last year the murder rate in Washington, D.C. was nearly 4 times higher than in your home in Los Angeles and nearly 6 times more than where you are right now in New York.
That's just dead. Could you imagine Chicago, man? What's going to happen with Chicago this Labor Day? I do a video pretty much every Labor Day about the shootings and who died on Labor Day. Can you imagine what they are going to reveal to us on Labor Day? Could you only imagine? Then they saying the numbers is lies, man. They said the numbers are lies. They cooked the books. If you was arrested for murder, they said it was an accident. If you was arrested for grape, they said, it was just some horseplay. I'm exaggerating, of course, but this is what's happening, man. Just a bunch of lies, man. Lies after lie after lie, over and over, over and over. Just lies. Just pure lies.
York. D.C. police claims violent crime is down 27% this year. The Justice Department would like a word and is now investigating those numbers.
Now, let's say they're putting out the stats that crime is low. Shouldn't the people in the hood voice their opinion and say what's really happening in the hoods of Washington, D.C.? Is it really down? Is crime and violence really down in New York City and Philadelphia, Chicago? Is it really down? Shouldn't the actual residents of those neighborhoods be the spokespersons or the talking point of the stats? Are the stats really true? That's what I would think.
Now, since this new show of force in D.C. with the National Guard and feds patrolling the streets, violent crime is down 30%.
Now, with that, is that true? Is that a lie? I'm going to lean to that being the truth. Do I believe that? Do I believe that 100%? No, I don't. But it sure looks like that speaks more volume considering the stuff that's been coming out the last few weeks about them fudging and cooking the books. As far as the Democrats saying crime is down. Bring it back for you a bit.
The Justice Department would like a word and is now investigating those numbers. Now, since this new show of force in D.C. with the National Guard and feds patrolling the streets, violent crime is down 30% and robbery down nearly 50%. Attorney General Pam Bondi providing an operational update this morning on X, posting, "We've now made a total of 630 arrests."
Now, that's phenomenal if that's true. Think for yourselves. Do you think that's a lie? Or do you think that's the truth? Because the way things are looking, it looks more like that's the truth. But let's say hypothetically that was the truth. How can you deny the fact that more police are needed in the black community? Just 4 years ago, 5 years ago, they were screaming, defund the police. Remember that? How many of you think that the police should be defunded in your neighborhoods? How many of your neighborhoods lack police presence? And you think you need less police officers? This is totally insane. And black and Hispanics are caught in the middle of this crap. Because at the end of the day, it's white people fighting for power among themselves, fighting for money among themselves, fighting for power and money to see who's going to control the power and the money among themselves. And then they're trying to sell you crazy in the end. They're trying to sell crazy. So I'm saying you just have to start thinking, because at the end of the day, and remember I said it, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse and worse, because Donald Trump is the last devil stronghold to keep the country together. And it's not going to work. It's not going to work. This country has never gotten better from the worst. It's gotten worse and worse and worse. And I'm going to shock you. People have gotten worse and worse. Look at your situations financially. Look at your family structures in a whole. Look at your children in a whole. Have they gotten better or have they gotten worse? Has the country gotten better or has that gotten worse? Has divorce rate grown because of economic stress and men not doing their role and women not doing their role? Has marriage in itself gotten better or has it gotten worse? Huh? Has the job market gotten better or has it gotten worse? This is what you got to question. Has the morals, whether in family or outside of family, or conduct on how people deal with each other, has that gotten better or has it gotten worse? Because if that's gotten worse, how do you expect the country to do better? Tell me, how do you expect the country to do better if those things within itself have gotten worse? It's not going to get any better. It's going to get worse and worse. And as time goes on, people are going to either have to turn to God or they're going to have to become more devilish to survive. I'm telling you, that's the way it works. You're going to either have to turn to God or you're going to have to turn to the devil. And this thing is a mystery. It's not meant for everyone to grasp. The Bible, that is, and the truth of the Most High. Because it's getting to the point where you have to turn to the Most High. You're not going to cut it on your own. You're not going to cut it on your own. Because people have been winging it and trying to cut it on their own for decades. And it's only gotten worse and worse. It's not gotten better. So give it some time. Just see where this thing is going, man. See where it's going. I don't see it going anywhere near good. I don't see it going anywhere near good. I see it getting worse and worse. And the worse it gets, the more suffering and pain is going to be revealed. And as the suffering and pain is revealed, people are going to be either in a place where they can serve the Most High or rebel against the Most High. Check this out. The Most High says in the book of Revelations, bring this up real quick. It says in the book of Revelations, and I looked and lo, a Lamb stood on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000 having his Father's name written in their foreheads, meaning the spiritual truth of what the Bible and the gospel and the word of God is actually talking about in the heads or the spirits of the true leadership that God is going to set up on this earth. This current leadership is trash. It's trash that you're following right now. You understand what I'm saying? The current leadership is trash. And that's what the Bible is emphasizing. Remember, we read this a little while ago. It says, Psalm 146:3, put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no salvation. This verse advises against placing ultimate faith and reliance on human leadership, highlighting their limitations and their transient nature, or the transient nature of their power. Instead, the psalm encourages readers to put their trust in God. Put your trust in God and not man, because man will jam you up every time. Man is not of the Most High. He's not of the Most High. And we're seeing that every day. Look what's coming out in the news. Every day we're seeing things that are showing that people are having less and less faith in the system, or they confuse and believe in the system. They believe in the lies. They believe in that. Here says, this article says, why Black folks are buckling up for all the BS of 2025. Black people are getting ready, some, for the bullcrap that's going to transpire in 2025. This is all the way in the beginning of the year. It says we're only 3 days in, but terrorist attacks and political upheaval are already hanging over everyone's head. Look at the war in Iran we just went through. And Iran is still seething and mad because of the great Satan America and the little Satan Israel. They're still mad. You understand? I'm hearing they linking up with certain powers that be to formulate themselves to get ready to attack again. Then look at the war between Putin and Zelensky. They're trying to piece that up, but we don't know where that's going. We know World War II is opening up. World War III, sorry, is opening up and opening up quickly. We know that. We see that part. We see that. But look where everything is going. That can spiral out of control next week or in the next few days with Zelensky and Putin. So even back then, this is January 3rd, 2025. Even back then, they saw the bull crap. The new year is supposed to bring new blessings, new energy, and a fresh start. But for Black Americans, 2025 already is sizing up to bring the same old problems from the year before. Is that true, or is it going to be worse? I think it's going to be a lot worse. I read a report where people are not paying their bills. They said, to hell with it. We're not going to pay our bills. They don't believe in the system anymore. They said, we're not going to pay the bills. So is this the truth? I don't know what Pam Bondi is saying, but it sure looks like the truth because there are bad people in the Black community. We have to acknowledge that. I know we love our people. We know about oppression and what they're going through, but at the same time, there are bad people in the Black community. The Bible tells us that. The Bible tells us that there are Black people who are animals in the Black community, and we have to eat that, man. We have to accept that reality. You understand? Because if you don't, you're going to be just another dummy just following emotions, and you got a lot of people following emotions. Here it is right here. 2 Peter 2, verse 12. It tells you right here. It says, but these as natural brute beasts made to be taken and destroyed. You got Black people, Black young men and women who are whores, hoes. You got Black men who are Fruit Loops now, demons, petties, if you know what I mean. Don't respect the elderly, robbers, thieves, drug dealers, bad people on both sides or both genders, Black men and Black women. It says, but these as natural brute beasts made to be taken and destroyed speak evil of things they understand not. See? The main thing they speak evil against is the Holy Bible. And shall utterly perish in their own corruption. See that? And shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they count it pleasure to riot in the daytime. Spots they are and blemishes, sporting themselves with their own spotting themselves with their own deceivings while they feast with you. So we got wicked men and women who parlay with us, feast with us, dance with us, sing with us, but are no damn good, and they reserve to be destroyed because God wills it. God wills it. So it's a very stupid thing to just be closed-minded and not see things for they are. We can't keep focusing on the white man and him being the wicked. You can't just keep focusing on that. We got to look at our own people and see their wicked doings as well. Check it out.
Of the National Guard playing with some kids in one community. We know that the Vice President and Pete Hegseth were there at Union Station buying Shake Shack, buying food for the National Guard.
It's all game and propaganda, though. So you got to be able to read through that BS, too. They mix the truth with lies, and they work your emotions. This is a campaign movement. That's why he's buying Shake Shack and shakes and fries and all this crap. They're campaigning to see who's going to get the power. But at the end, we know that God wins. In the end, we know that God's judgment will prevail and America must be judged. America has not been thoroughly spanked. You understand that? A lot of powerful nations have been spanked, but America, Babylon the Great, has not been spanked, and she must be judged. She must be spanked, and she must be judged. Bottom line, that's what it is. That's where it's going, man. She must be judged.